Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, with special thanks to Revenant, Anerdinwarpaint, Antonio Hernandez, Dragon Matrix 7, Exsellsior, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Solasta, Crown of the Magister, as we embark upon what I believe is the final leg of our journey. Now, I'm not exactly sure how much we have left ahead of us, so we will be jumping in momentarily. But first, I did make some slight adjustments to our loadout, so let's run through that real quick. I'll admit, I do feel a bit silly about this first one, but apparently it turns out that you can inscribe your deity symbol on your offhand shield, which doesn't let you circumvent the need for freeing up your hand for certain spells, but it does for all of the spells that require your holy symbol as part of the casting. In our case, that does actually cover most of the important ones, most notably Guardian Spirits, though we would still have to swap Henrik off to an empty hand to cast spells like Guiding Bolt. I'm not sure exactly when they added this. I'm fairly certain it wasn't in the game at launch. But I would have to go pouring through the patch notes. It's possible they just added it for the Sorcerer update. I haven't really studied those patch notes yet. But regardless, better late than never. At the very least, we can enjoy it during our final run. The only other notable change was this. I went ahead and slapped the Cloth of the Lightbringers on Istvan, and that does cost him 1 point of armor class, but it comes with the added bonus of necrotic resistance, so I think that's a fair trade-off. As we've seen, certain Sorax do have potent necrotic attacks, most notably the Shayna. I think that last one we tangled with doled out something like 30 or 40 necrotic damage to your breath at one point. That aside, I just think the Cloth of the Lightbringer looks better. I really like the half cape and the overburdened belts and straps and everything. It's very, very 90s comic book. Which does bring us to Sir, however. The logical thing to do here would be to switch him off to the Empress chain shirt. But, I just do not like the way it looks on him. There's significant clipping issues, not to mention, of course, that I feel like people would take him a lot less seriously if he was running around in a gilded short sleeve like that, as opposed to the admittedly overly stylized midnight black leather armor with red trimming. I think it almost kind of evens out. We're losing 2 points of armor class, but we're gaining that +2 to savings throws. Really, though, I'm going to say that this is another case similar to Henrik and the Dwarven Plate. We'll call it a fashion tax. If it really becomes a problem, then we'll switch them out. But I don't really foresee that being a problem. Especially not if they're going to be throwing low-level Sorax at us moving forward. Because this does not look like a dangerous encounter. I mean, maybe I'm just missing something here. I did underestimate the fire spiders last time around, and they did do some pretty serious damage before I compensated, but I'm just not seeing it here. Side note, I also find it odd that they're still giving us crafting ingredients, because it would take us a minimum of 6 to 8 hours to actually make use of this stuff. It would imply that we're not right near the end of the campaign, but I am fairly certain this is the final area, so it just really kind of jumps out at me. Alright, let's have a closer look at these Sorax. Yeah, unless they've got more lurking out of sight. This is barely even a warm-up. Let's see if we can one-shot this guy. Yeah, that seems about right. Well, let's take out the other three. As a reminder, these are all enemy types we were encountering in Caer Lem. That was the first main dungeon of the entire campaign. Wow. Not off to a great start there, Yvreth. Let's get Henrik up, front and center. He'll draw fire. And trim the assassins. There we go. That is slightly inconvenient. Let's drop the warrior. Very nice. And all right, this guy could be anywhere. Let's hold for a second. Now, where are you? Oh, hi there. Looks like Henrik did indeed draw fire. Nicely done, Henrik. Kind of squandered that stealth advantage, didn't you? Well, you tried. Oh, I did not mean to swap out weapons like that. I don't know what I was thinking. That's fine. I think my brain was just telling me that Yvreth's arms are way too short to possibly reach that guy. But we are fine.
More dragon bones?
That's really what they were doing. Cleaning up the place.
They were destroying the bones.
How do you know?
The bones are a threat to them.
I don't follow.
These are the remains of the Masters of the Arcaneum.
Dragons? All of them?
The Master of Abjuration was no exception. They were all dragons, even the Magister. And his bones are among those.
I thought I felt something, but...
Definitely.
We need to search the bones.
Find a bone of the Magister. Inappropriate, but sure. We'll have to be careful with our arrows, too. We're actually getting pretty light on those. The good ones, anyway. Nothing here. Let's move to the next pile of bones. Just bones. Well, yeah, that's what we're looking for, right?
Here.
A tooth?
It calls to me.
Let me touch my crown.
Did you hear that?
I did.
He wants to touch the crown.
The tooth. Just one little tooth.
That's why the Sorax want to destroy the bones.
What'll happen if we succeed?
Let me touch my crown.
There's only one way to find out.
Dragon tooth. This tooth was found in a pile of dragon bones. It must have belonged to the Magister, himself a dragon. That is somewhat intriguing, because there were only 9 Masters of the Arcaneum, and we've met 4 of them, plus the Magister, apparently. But I do feel like we've got more than 5 dragons worth of bones here. It does make you wonder just how many dragons were behind the old Manicalan Empire, though. Because, like, we met the Emperor's ghost, and he definitely seemed like he was an elf. He had a family and everything, right up until they all got murdered. Oh, well, that does look delightful.
This place never ends.
This is the way. I can hear the crowd.
Yes, we must go on.
Oh, hold up. Badlands Wraith. Gotcha. Gotcha. Necrotic damage, resistant to non-magical attacks. Vulnerable to radiant?
Even the dead could hear you.
That's fine. I think we're okay. Istvons, resistant to necrotic damage. Oh, nice. Yeah, I think we're just fine. 2.5 damage per missile. Round up to 13. Oh, hi there. Henrik, I'm gonna need you to find some slightly more stable footing, please.
You have them now.
The last thing we need at this point is a death via slip and fall.
Well struck.
Nice. Slightly less impressive. Bonk.
Who?
Okay, not vulnerable to Radiant. Noted.
Good.
They didn't have a ghost of a chance. These guys. Those slippers are useful, but man, they stress me out. I don't think I mentioned it back when we were trapped in that void, but I have a crippling acrophobia, fear of heights. Not so for this motley crew. Also, again, a bit late in the game for us to be finding a recipe. I mean, we already know that one, but unless they're planning to hit us with another rest point, I don't see us getting a chance to actually use that. Alright, so what are we doing here? Oh, I see. Just like back in the Manicolin Ruins, the ancient library. That's neat. So what about this one? Does that go up?
You have trained well.
No, that went down because it's not above one of the magical updrafts. Man, I am going to miss these puzzles. It's so rare to see dungeon crawls with this much verticality. Whoops. Hello. Just you? That doesn't seem right.
Just bad luck.
Istvan, that's gotta be awkward.
Well done.
Okay, I guess it's just the one. Maybe he was supposed to join the fight earlier and just missed his cue.
Nice jump.
Oh, it looks like we missed something. Hold on. Wow, yeah, I did not notice that at all. Another crafting recipe. No, the same crafting recipe. So they really wanted to make sure that you would be able to craft healing potions for the final encounter. That is intriguing. But again, also implies that we should have a campsite coming up. Ooh, that looks nice.
Are we walking into some gigantic trap?
The Sorax are doing all they can to stop us.
Come on, don't falter now!
It's crazy to think that they made all these unique tile sets just for these brief final encounters. I mean, I guess they are just upscaled versions of statues we've seen throughout the rest of the game, but it is still very striking. Also, I imagine we do not want to fall into that void. I am noticing a distressing uptick in the number of instant death ledges in these last few maps. I think that's good. Let's do this. You know, I always assume these things can cause knockback. I mean, it would make sense, but I don't think we've ever actually seen them do it. So, it's possible I'm worrying about nothing.
well struck.
I thought we said cautious.
More caution next time.
Well done!
I want to say, I remember seeing one of these guys use some sort of whirlwind AoE in an earlier encounter, but maybe I'm misremembering that. Nice. I guess, really, the only time we've actually fought these things before was the optional encounter in the Manacalon Ruins.
That's the way.
That was like episode 20? 21? Not that long ago. Lord Danantar's family heirloom, I believe. We'll have Henrik on interception.
Again.
Ow, I guess.
A good kill, as they say.
Wow, well, I am not going to lie. That was not all that perilous. You know, I think those do normally have some sort of knockback whirlwind, but they may have disabled it to prevent them from getting instant kills on this map.
Artistic note, not great.
I did notice they took a lot of precautions to prevent the player from getting insta-killed, as was somewhat common back in the old beta build. I still remember the original version of Care Lem, the sideways tower, where you had to leap across the rubble while fighting the wall-crawling Sorax. That was notorious during the early beta tests because there were no safety rails or lower gantries in the original build, so the Sorax could just run right up and shove you off the edges if you weren't careful, and that was just instant death. I very distinctly remember the first time it happened. My party mage had Featherfall prepped, and he hit my hapless fighter with it as he was slowly plummeting to his doom. But because it was simply a bottomless abyss, he died anyway. I guess they got a lot of complaints about that. Hence the figurative safety rails they have since put in place. Let's grab a quick rest. And on we go. Oh, that looks like Zoran's mansion. Okay, I've noticed a slight difference from Zoran's mansion. Oh boy, I'm not sure my brain can process this. Okay. Right? Secret treasure. Pretty basic. Let's get down to that trellis. Okay. You know what? We'll just push everything. Given the slippers, I don't think we even really need to rely on these things, but I'm not sure what half this stuff would even do. Yeah, okay. That's pretty self-explanatory. You know what? This might actually just be a restock encounter. A chance to load up on potions and consumables before we get into our next big fight. Because we're not seeing any enemies here. We're just seeing various things we can push and then a bunch of varied loot caches at different levels of elevation. What did that do? Can we go? No, we can't go up there. Huh. Okay, yeah, so this is just a restock area. A really quirky restock area, but it feels... I don't know, I like it, but it's so strange to see them put so much effort into what is basically just a glorified corridor with chests in it. You could have had some really fun encounters here, especially if you could like fall through the doors or windows into the interiors of the buildings and climb back up and have like a multi-tiered battlefield. That did nothing. That served no purpose. Very strange. Very strange. I really like the design. It's just, I don't know. I just really feel like they could have done more with this. Alright, on to the next Salvador Dali painting. Oh, goodness. maybe Hieronymus Bash. Whoa! Ow. Alright. You're fine. So what nightmare are we walking into this time? This actually looks shockingly straightforward compared to the last few areas. Well, maybe not the straight row of floating platforms with the wind elementals. That was about as straightforward as it gets. But this is a close second. Interesting. Okay, so we've got two potential paths here. We can just scale that wall up to the broader platform, or we can take the side path. And we are probably better off sneaking in through the side. Though, really, we're not seeing much in the way of any real threats here. Okay, well that looks ominous. So what's the point of these? They really just kind of fill those gaps, but I am unclear as to why. Onward, my friends. I think it's pretty obvious we're headed into something big.
This is it. The rift.
Is it open again?
Hard to say. I see a bunch of Sorax, but not the countless horde they're expecting.
And no god.
The crown!
They're doing it! The damn ritual!
This is it, friends. This is when we make history, or die.
Justice will prevail.
For all my ancestors, I shall not fail.
To the bitter end.
Let's neutralize this guy!
Ah, sir, never the pragmatist. I'm gonna miss these guys. That doesn't look too bad. Oh, wait. Okay, that still doesn't look that bad. Let's get around to the left here. They haven't spotted us yet. Careful, careful. And it's go time. I think Istvan's still moving, so we'll have Sir fire the opening shot. Well, not a great start, but we still have a distinct advantage. Is that a dragon in the timeline?
Perhaps if you tried to be loud instead?
Oh my goodness. I think that's Lady Adrastea. Welcome back, Kithaela. Of course, now you have planted yourself squarely in our line of fire. That actually hinders us more than it helps. Okay, okay. I think we've got the right idea here, just the wrong spell. Much better. That'll do. I can't help but notice that Lady Adrastea is actually already missing a big chunk of her health. That is a bit disconcerting. Pakri, you want to tag in here? Well, gosh, thanks for nothing, Pakri.
You're still in the fight, my friend.
It does make me wonder if Mardrokt or Zoran would have joined the fight as well. You know, if we hadn't stabbed them to death. I mean, if they hadn't forced us to kill them in self-defense, like heroes. Not, I suppose, that we really need more help here.
Perfect.
Lady Adrastea is having kind of a rough time. We'd better get in there. Come on. Fine. Just trying to get some of that pressure off Lady D.
Shake it off.
I guess Divine Intervention's a once per long rest. That's a shame. We don't really need it. I just would have liked to see it. If the end of the world doesn't call for Divine Intervention, I don't know what does. Though to be fair, I suppose the last time our Pantheon tangled with the Sorax, it didn't exactly end well. I can understand their reticence.
Crush 'em!
All right, you breath. Let's get you in there.
Again.
There we go. Oh? Hey, look who has survival instincts after all.
I didn't even fight back.
Wow, okay. That was an excellent turnaround from Lady D. You know what, this is completely pointless, but I would kick myself if I didn't do it. Bees! There we go. Now Istvan gets free drinks in every tavern for the rest of his life. Alright guys, you can stab him now. I did the bee thing. Oh, solid hit from Henrik. Who was that? Istvan's frightened. But the Char is dead.
We did it!
The Magister!
He's coming back to life!
Hold.
What?
No!
The rift! It's open!
No!
Hold.
I thought that was it!
He said hold! We need to hold!
Against a whole army?
Look!
He's closing the rift!
Protect the Magister! Nothing else matters!
Oh boy, I guess we're not done yet. Man, I cannot believe they killed Kithaela all over again. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. For Kithaela!
Bravo! Victory is yours!
Bit premature there, Istvan. How about thee? Istvan, buddy, you are killing me here. hovering at 60. Come on, man. Wow. You actually poisoned him. Do we have a timer or something? Nope, we just hold the line. Istvan's back in.
That I like.
Nope. What? Vaporized on approach. Good for him.
You have them now.
I was right about you. I must go now. Take care of Solasta. Take care of your world.
Was done. Never again would so many gods unite their forces to create a passage through the worlds. Sortar would remain on Trimmier until the end of times. But his children of darkness had set foot on Solasta. and planted the seeds of evil. Deeper than anyone could have imagined.
So really, it is just beginning. A fitting enough end for our first adventure in Solasta, but hopefully not the last one. Wow, that is quite a game. Give me a second to collect my thoughts here. So, I'm not really saying anything I haven't said before, but I really enjoyed this game. Granted, it is a bit janky. They obviously rushed a bit towards the end there. But overall, I found it to be a very engaging and satisfying experience. Could have had a stronger finish, could have had better production values, but given the limited budget and very limited development time that they were presented with, that they were working within, I feel like they did an exceptional job. And it is one of those rare cases of a crowdfunding campaign that I'm really satisfied with. It's easy to nitpick at the things you wish they had done better, but I give them a lot of props for going into it with a fairly clear and concise vision and really staying focused on that. There are a lot of pitfalls when it comes to this sort of thing, when it comes to these low-budget, crowd-funded indie games. Feature creep, overpromising, project mismanagement. You know, making games isn't easy, especially when you're trying to do something ambitious. And there are a lot of elements of Solasta which were exceptionally ambitious. I mean, just trying to do a fully voiced, semi-cinematic RPG like this on a shoestring budget is audacious. You know, there are AAA studios, Bethesda springs to mind immediately, that still can't manage that stuff even with a AAA budget. So I have a lot of respect for Tactical Adventures for not just attempting it, but sticking with it. You know, despite misgivings or shortcomings that resulted. And to be fair, while there are some folks who won't be able to get around the jank, the low-budget character models or animations or awkwardly delivered lines, I also feel like that adds a lot to the charm of the game. I mean, to a certain extent, it helps emulate the entire tabletop aesthetic that they were so clearly going for with a lot of the other elements of the game. You know, it really does remind me of sitting around the table with a group of players who are trying, without rehearsal, you know, to interact with each other in character. And, you know, even outside of that, there's a lot of other things to like about the game. I really, personally, appreciate the granular approach to dungeon crawling. I like the squared-off designs of the tile-based dungeons and the focus on verticality. I mean, obviously, I wish it had been a bit more thorough. You should have been able to move on any wall. It should have been easier to handle three-dimensional movement to really ramp up that verticality. But again, at the same time, I have to keep in mind the basic limitations imposed by the budget and resources they were working with. And, you know, for what it's worth, I found the tactical combat scenarios, even the easy ones, to be a lot more satisfying and engaging, I think, than the ones that I recently played in Baldur's Gate 3, in the early access build of Baldur's Gate 3. And, you know, I enjoy that game too. I think both games obviously have their strengths. Baldur's Gate 3 has some surprisingly tight lore, and obviously it has much higher production values. But mechanically, and honestly visually too, it felt a lot less faithful to the D&D license that it was attempting to emulate. With Solasta, even though they used their own custom setting, it was very clear you were playing a Dungeons & Dragons game. You could recognize a lot of the rules that were converted fairly faithfully. Whereas then you jump over to a game like Baldur's Gate 3 and you get, again, what feels like a much jankier combat system. You've got your barrelmancy, you've got your characters sailing gracefully from encounter to encounter with mighty leaps. And it does make it feel like a different game, playing at being a D&D property. Anyway, back on Solasta, I will say that as much as I enjoyed the game, as much as I will sing its praises, there are obvious shortcomings. Production values aside, it is fairly clear that they were rushing to get it finished towards the end. You know, there's a lot of signs. A lot of random floating text just isn't voiced as you get towards the end of the game, and I couldn't help but notice there are almost no lore books as you get towards those last couple of chapters either, which is odd because, like, the maps themselves are gorgeous, and there's a lot of unique environments and clever puzzles as you get towards the end, which I feel were probably finished before they were assembling everything else for the last couple of chapters. I feel like they had a lot more planned. They took a lot of narrative shortcuts right towards the end. And obviously, the difficulty curve kind of started going backwards once we got towards the end. I mean, the char went down pretty easy. The only challenging part of that fight was trying to keep Lady D alive. And ultimately that was fruitless too, because she died in the cutscene right after, which was a bummer. Poor Cathaela. I would be very curious to see a full cut of their intended campaign, everything they originally intended to do with it, if they had had the time and the funds to realize the full thing. You know, just off the top of my head, I do remember very distinctly that there were extended dungeon sequences and elements that were in the pre-launch build that were completely absent in the actual launch build. And I can't help but wonder what happened to them, or if we'll ever end up seeing them again. Regardless, that is not something that I will allow to mar my overall enjoyment of the game. I'm glad I backed it, I'm glad I played it, and I'm glad that I managed to finish the series on it too. You know, I don't get to actually wrap a lot of series, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it too. I mean, if you made it this far, I assume you did. It's also worth noting, of course, that in a lot of ways this is essentially Tactical Adventures proof of concept, and they're already moving to provide further post-launch support for the game. They just put out that sorcerer update with a new class, and apparently they're also currently working to provide additional level up support up to level 12, not to mention the mod support for custom dungeons and the possibility of future campaigns and other additions. You know, a lot of stuff to potentially look forward to. Anyway, I can see the credits are starting to wind down here, so I guess I'd better start winding down too. Y'all know how it goes. While I have enjoyed playing Solasta, Crown of the Magister, you can find out more by checking out the official website, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. And of course, if you would like to help support the channel, feel free to push any of the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon. Every little bit helps. Special thanks to Tactical Adventures for making the game, and of course sending me an early press copy, though I had backed the game, so I mean, I already had access to an early copy anyway, but it is the thought that counts. Special thanks to the Raiders for helping make this series possible in the first place. Oh, and special thanks to Yvreth, Henrik, Sir Dialot, and Istvan for subjecting themselves to 37 episodes of me dragging them to every misbegotten corner of Solasta, and nearly getting them killed a dozen times. Such is the fate of a raider. Hey, you knew what you signed up for. And at least I didn't get any of you killed. This time. Though, granted, we did get a number of other NPCs killed, but you know what they say, you can't have an adventure without murdering a few NPCs. I'm pretty sure that's how the saying goes. Like 90%. At any rate, this is RetconRaider signing off. Thanks for watching. This adventure has come to an end, but there's always the next one to look forward to. See you then.